The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Today, we had to provide some off-season football content. What are we going to do? We're going to do what the people want. We're going to be ranking quarterbacks for the next 4 years NFL. If you had to start your team today, which quarterback would you take? We're going to go in descending order, 10 to 1. Maybe some honorable mentions who just missed out on the list too. Now, here's what I want you to do out there. So here are the parameters. Next 4 years, you can take contracts into consideration as well, but it's basically like a win now and slightly into the future type ranking of how you actually want quarterbacks on your team. So you have the number one overall pick of any team. It's like an expansion draft in Madden, and you get to pick one quarterback. Who are your pick? You give me your top 5 in the comment section after you smash that like button, and we're good to go. Also, remember to rate and review the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Rate it 5 stars. And if you're feeling generous, please leave a review. That's a currency that we deal with on this show. Helping me in providing their list, number 1, Geoff Fienberg is in studio. He's released the Kraken.
I'm excited. I honestly am been super fired up to talk, just to do this show again. I had so much fun the last time we did a show together, and this new sort of new inside baseball schedule. I was really excited. I was excited coming in today.
Well, and I think that I can do, because I did a show last week with Derek Brown, if people want to go check that out.
I enjoyed that.
On the early
Tim
odds for the NFL draft. So he cursed poor Debro. He's never going to be back on the show again. He might not be alive for all I know after Tim said he was good on the show. Anyway, I was very, I don't know a ton about college football, so having him come in, but I know who's expected to go where. But to hear about these guys, who's good? Stop looking at my list. You're going like this over my thing. You've done it like 3 times.
I can't turn it over.
I can see your eyes, and they're going like this.
I'm not looking at your list. My list is here. My list is unchanged. I'm gonna rip this off.
It's not about you doing the rankings and changing your rankings. It's about you seeing that the order that we're going in. It's supposed to be a free-flowing conversation.
Geoff is in a lecture hall at Western Ontario all over again during the final exam. Pat's invigilating.
Listen.
What do you got over there? You got C? I got C,
buddy. I was always looking for help.
All right, listen. If you don't get caught, is it actually cheating?
This was a test I didn't need any help on, and I'm just gonna look this way because any accusation of looking this way, you think I'm just staring at your list?
It's not. It's when I see your eyes do this.
My eyes are lazy.
You got lazy eyes? Lazy eye Geoff? Is that what we're going to be calling you from now on? Or you should wear your glasses, pal. Anyway, so what I want to do is do a few serious shows that pertain to betting and the draft and fantasy football. We really need to have a discussion about the schedule going to 17 games at some point and how that actually affects fantasy leagues. That's why you should bet and play DraftKings, because it doesn't matter at that point. You can just construct your teams anyway and bet however you want. But for season long, that's going to be a real issue. So I think I'll have Jeff Radcliffe on next week. But every second week, every third week, it's going to be me. It's going to be you. It's going to be Paul behind the glass and Tim Andercust.
Tim Andercust.
That's not my name, and I promise we're going to talk about football this time.
Yeah, we really got waylaid last week.
We're gonna. I believe me. There's lots of nonsense I have saved up, but I've put a pin in all of it for the next time we do nonsense.
All right, yeah, we'll build up some nonsense shows, but we're going to be hitting football too. And I think that these topics pertain well to us in general, because they're real generic. Oh, there's a DC for you. I thought
it most certainly is not.
Oh yeah, it's a Lent. Tim's not drinking
Is
DC.
it bubbly or?
It's one of the fans of our show recommended I go buy the sparkling water from President's Choice that's root beer flavored, and it is amazing, and I strongly advise it.
I actually drink the PC sparkling water as well. I get the lemon flavored one. I actually think it's quite good.
I bet you that's good. I bet it's good. Ginger ale is my next one I'm going to try, but I'm working through the root beer one right now.
I will say President's Choice, they're very good with their private label.
Well, If people don't know what President's Choice is, it's a brand here in Canada that's basically the same as name brand that they basically white label and just put their own name on.
I know a lot of places, the companies that they actually get the stuff. It's good.
And they're all good companies.
They are.
Yeah.
Every PC doesn't do anything badly. They don't do a lot of things amazingly, but they do nothing badly. And so it's a very, very safe thing to go with.
But I think these are the topics that we should really stick to. Your generic drive time sports radio topics where we don't read any real basis, just opinions, and we can fight about it. I think that's what the people want to see out of the three of us, at least. If we're doing like
Well,
hardcore,
that's all I have. That's all I have to offer.
yes, well, we know that. Bad opinions at that, too. I mean, maybe you'll have a great opinion on your top 10 quarterbacks of the future. The future people are going to be reading your list, Tim. So let's kick it off with you. Do you think we should go to number 10 first, or should we talk about the guys that probably missed the cut?
We can do that if you'd like.
So honorable mentions. Now you gotta get your list back.
Well, why doesn't he just look at yours since it's the same list?
It's not, I swear.
So honorable mentions for this list. A guy that I actually considered putting on it because it's funny because if I wanted to win now, I think if he played on a good team, like he would be pretty good. Kirk Cousins, who was a good quarterback.
I like Kirk Cousins. I think there's a public disrespect for
Trash.
Kirk.
Where would you rank Kirk Cousins there, TC?
I don't know. Right around where Baker is. He's perfectly serviceable, but for the amount of money that he's being paid by the Vikings, which is what, 5th or 6th most in football, he ain't worth it. Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? I'm allowed to be wrong. And I was wrong. That was 28. Yeah, okay. Right? Well, I think actually that one was me trolling, if I look at that date.
How
But
am
you
I
don't know-
supposed
but
to
you
know
don't
that?
know the
It's-
difference.
It's in font. It's
No,
not.
that
How
is
am I
a
supposed to
troll.
know you're
That's
being
like Cousins
sarcastic?
I
just-
believe that too. I believe that too is a troll.
Anything post
I mean, all I see is you calling him Captain Clutch,
No, because he
saying
got
that
signed
he's
by
so
Minnesota
good.
in like March of 2018 or April of 2018. So I think after that, that seems positive.
But that would be so. There was
That
a
is not a
flip
troll.
somewhere here. There was a
That
flip
is not a
somewhere
troll.
among the mix,
That was-
right?
That was me being wrong.
And then please, 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 please,
Yeah, yeah.
please,
No,
please,
I-
please, please, please,
And I
hashtag
had
Jumbo
just-
Jets.
And I had just been like a meter away from him on Radio Row.
Maybe that's why
was
he
like-
hasn't been good in Minnesota.
It's funny. We did. You can go back and find those shows on Radio Row that we did, and we did a "Where does Kirk Cousins rank?" Like basically this ranking that we did for this show, and Tim had Kirk Cousins top 5. Tim, top 5 quarterback.
I'm sure that I did. I was smitten and I was wrong. Like, talk about accountability. I'm not afraid to belly up to the bar and say when I'm wrong about something. Paul, for example, won't admit he's wrong about Reese's peanut butter cups. I admit when I'm wrong.
Oh, come on.
It's important to
Get a
admit-
poll. Get a poll out there right now. Get a
Why,
poll out
did
there.
you call like Reese's a chocolate bar or
He
something?
said it's a
stupid
chocolate
like
bar.
that?
It's not. It's
not
a
a
cup.
chocolate bar.
Like if
It
it,
is,
if
and
it
then
would
as
be
soon
a
as I said
bar,
it,
it would be in the
started
shape
saying
of a bar.
Paul.
Yeah.
And as soon as I said it, multiple people said to Paul,
Tim,
"He's right about this."
Your tweet has like 5 likes. Mine has like 15 likes. So the people are with me.
No.
And this isn't one of those. This isn't one of those polls where you get like 20% and then try to claim victory. We're going 50-50. Post a poll so you can word it whatever way you want. Just write, is Reese's peanut butter cups a chocolate
Writing it
bar?
right now.
And we'll see.
Cousins.
I agree, but if you put him
But
on,
I don't think he's
if
a
you
top-
put him on San Francisco this season, they would be Super Bowl
Okay,
contenders. He's better than Jimmy G.
I agree. I agree. And there's some dots there with Cousins and Shanahan, and that's been a rumbling thing that has been out there. He didn't make my list, but I like Cousins. I feel like he's far disrespected.
Yeah, he didn't make my list either. I had him and Matt Ryan on the outside looking in. I kind of feel like they're in the same tier. And honestly, for the next 4 years, if we made this list past him, I'd probably have Cousins ahead of Ryan at this point. They'd be close. They'd be like 12 and 13 kind of thing.
Okay, I guess my potential most glaring omission, at least from a statistical perspective, Pat, because listen, I have a carrier pigeon for this team, and the fans of this team love to tell you that there are statistical metrics that comp Tannehill to
Oh, yeah, we're not doing a wide receiver ranking list. We're doing a quarterback
to
ranking
Mahomes
list.
and Rodgers.
Yeah, Tannehill didn't make my top 10.
I'm just saying, like, but like I see some of these metrics, like I'm really impressed. Like, great for Ryan Tannehill. I'm not there.
Yeah, it's
I'm
my
just not there.
pick. I'm building a team. He's not one of my top 10 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I
That's not
agree.
who but I think that he's on the Cousins Matt Ryan. Like I think you could win a Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback. He's not
the Titans almost did 2 years ago.
He's not the reason you're going to win the Super Bowl, but you can win with him. I think he's good enough to do it.
If they had a different quarterback, would they have gone for 4th and 2? Like,
I mean,
probably not.
But if you have Derrick Henry, why aren't you just? And he's so good, and you're paying him all this money. Why don't you just fucking run it?
I don't mean to throw stones at Tannehill. It's a great recovery from how badly it sort of ended in Miami for him. I don't care that the metrics show he has. There's some stats where he has Mahomesian Rodgers stats. I don't give a shit.
It doesn't pass the eye test.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I don't care.
And you hate the Titans, which is fair, by the way. Like, we all have our biases.
I don't hate the Titans. They just annoy me.
Yes, you do.
They just annoy
Yes, you
me.
do.
They just annoy me.
So the other guys on the outside, and I doubt any of it, like Tannehill, again, is in that Cousins Ryan tier for me. I don't think they cracked anyone's top 10s.
Nope.
I don't think Jalen Hurts cracked anyone's top 10. I don't think
didn't.
I don't think that Daniel Jones cracked anyone's top 10.
He was close.
I think that these two guys at the bottom right here probably did crack at least Tim's top 10. They're outside of mine, so I'll save those for conversation later. I don't think Carson Wentz cracked anyone's top 10 at this point.
Nope. They didn't.
No,
The only other one, I left out Trevor Lawrence too.
I did.
I left out all the possible rookies
You
because they've
said
never taken
going
a snap.
ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Yeah.
said going
I
ahead.
ranked him.
Okay, so we'll talk about him when
I
the time
ranked him.
comes on your list then.
and he
And
had
I
to,
didn't take Rodgers or Brady. I left them both off my list.
Well, we'll get to them.
You left.
We'll get to them.
Yes.
So let's start with Tim's number 10. Tim, it is your list. We're going in descending order. Your number 10. And if Tim has number 10 and they're on both of our lists as well, we will just state where we have them on our list. We don't triple talk the same guy over and over.
Toughest pick I made, I think, was 10. And when I did my list, there was a clear 1 and a gap, a clear 2 and a gap. 3 to 9 were pretty jumbled, and then a pretty clear gap to 10. Matt Stafford is number 10 for me.
I have Matt Stafford as number 10 on my list as well.
Matthew Stafford is number 9 on my list.
Okay, so we're all pretty much in the same direction.
So
I-
that's the reason that I set it to 4 years for the parameters of this list.
Under-
to include the sort of Staffords that maybe 4 years from now, he's not great, but I think his next 3 years, he still has the chance to be an elite guy. He's not Patrick Mahomes.
If he's on
but
Detroit,
he's very good.
If he's on Detroit, he doesn't make my list, though. I don't think.
I think that he would be probably in a similar spot because it's not that we're taking Matthew Stafford on the Rams. We're taking Matthew Stafford on our. If all
That's right.
of my guys were above it and we're drafting our quarterback, I'm taking Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, okay,
I think Matthew
you're-
Stafford gives me a better chance to win over the next 4 years than Trevor Lawrence would over the next 4 years. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
And
what is-
I don't think that necessarily means that, if I was starting a franchise for the rest of eternity, I'd take Trevor Lawrence. But that's not the case that we're doing here.
What's his exact age again? I mean, you made my list regardless. Was it?
33.
That's like 6 good. There's like 4 definite good years there. I would.
And that
want
was my
Stafford.
cutoff. Say, I wouldn't take anybody over that age for the next 4 years. So if you're over that, I'm sorry. You don't make my list.
Okay,
I can't believe we're on the same page with this.
I don't know.
I mean, I
whether
was
my
tempted
10
to pick. I was tempted to pick Brady only because he might play till he's 55, and I will look like a fool. And so I did leave him off. But yes, it was between Stafford, Brady, and Jones was my debate in the last spot, and I went with Stafford.
Can I ask
Making
him a
4 years from now, for building a team, that's who I'd want. He's making $27 million a year, which is a pretty reasonable amount of money for a starting quarterback of, I think, top 10 caliber. So I'm going with him. And I think, you look at the NFC West, I think Stafford could very well be a Super Bowl winning quarterback this year. I'm not picking it, but will it shock anybody? No, by no means. He's good enough to do that over the next couple of seasons. So, I mean, he's often maligned, is often injured, but that's actually unfair. It's only a couple of seasons he's actually really been significantly injured. And the guy has been a warrior in all kinds of seasons. So, yeah, I'm glad to see that he made all of our lists because I think it was warranted.
For me, he was the top of that tier with Cousins and Ryan and that type and Tannehill. He's the best of those guys, and that's why I had him at 10.
Well, I know we didn't make Tim's list, and maybe I should have asked this earlier, and he just missed mine. But can I ask Tim where Baker ranks?
I don't know. I guess in that next cut
unranked.
below.
I have him. I have him unranked too.
You have him
17th,
unranked.
18th, 17th, 18th overall, I guess.
Can I give my 10?
He was close to I would much rather have Baker than Daniel Jones. That's no slight against Daniel Jones, but Baker is a very competent NFL quarterback. Like, I don't think he's a guy who's going to kill you.
But if you're going 4 years, can you not trust there's like a better Baker and then a better Baker and then a better?
Put it this
Yeah,
way,
if you spot him a 28-point lead in the playoffs, he'll win you a game.
I would rather take Lawrence than Baker. I would rather take Burrow than Baker, like that kind of thing. I'd rather take Baker over Tua or Darnold.
Yeah. Can I say who was 10 on my list? Maybe he missed your guys'
Well,
lists.
no, are you done on Matt Stafford?
But I'm happy to keep talking about
Yeah,
Stafford.
no, we're going to go guy by guy, and then we'll.
I'm excited about Stafford. What a great landing spot for him. I mean, what a perfect situation.
Hopefully they can block for him.
Hopefully they can block for him. And as we've discussed, and I think we will discuss in any big form Rams season outlook, is, there's a layer, like, their depth will always be an issue, but they got fired last year, and they now have last year's team with a substantial quarterback upgrade. I'm excited for Stafford, and he's still got it. To me, the arm strength, the accuracy remain, and he's a bright guy,
Mobile.
and now he's with a great coach.
Sneaky mobile too.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think there's a rebirth, sort of. We've seen quarterbacks do this, older than him. I mean, I'm not even counting Brady, because that's an anomaly thing.
I think like Rich Gannon, right? Won the MVP in Oakland.
Kurt Warner, second hurrah, even Palmer, hyper successful in Arizona for a bit.
Absolutely.
Rivers had a downturn, older than this, but then he came back to have a really strong year, and then another dip, and then play. I have no doubt Stafford's going to be very good.
And when we think about situation, especially that he's in now, remember that 1 year with Jim Bob Cooter? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what a genius Jim Bob Cooter was. It just turns out he wasn't a fucking travesty. And all of a sudden, give Stafford stuff that plays to his strengths, and all of a sudden he's really good. I have a feeling Sean McVay might take advantage of that. That's me speaking. I don't know if that's going to be true or not, but it just feels like put him in a good situation. He has all of the tools to be really good.
Helps to have Megatron too, which the Rams don't have. But
I mean, Matt Stafford hasn't had him for 5 years now?
No, but I think the last time they made the playoffs, he was playing for them, right? So, I like Stafford a lot, but he's not. He's 10th for a reason and not 6th.
Jeff, who is your number 10?
My number 10 was Kyler.
Kyler is higher on my list.
He's a little higher on my list.
Kyler Murray is number 7 on my list.
Yeah, he came in at number 10. I'm still really excited. He's got the speed to be amazing. He can literally take over games. I thought a lot of the MVP talk was he threw this crazy Hail Mary to beat the Bills, and people wanted to in the MVP race. I was never there, but yeah, keep going, keep improving. We're going into year 3. This is going to be a huge year. We saw Allen, May, and Baker, even though he didn't get on my list, make huge leaps in year 3. The real deal quarterbacks always do. I'm expecting that from Kyler. He's very good.
I like his combination. When we think about the types of quarterbacks that we're seeing right now, obviously the mobility is such a big factor for him. But we did see when he sustained that injury that all of a sudden you take away that element of his game, and then he just doesn't look as good. But I don't know if that's necessarily an issue with Kyler, that Kingsbury hasn't really been good as a head coach. That offense is just weird by all accounts, that you see these flash games where they look so good. I don't feel like they take advantage of everything that Kyler does well. They either tend to rely on him to do everything with his legs or do nothing with his legs, and then their offense is kind of inept. They need to find a balance. I think that there's someone out there that can probably do a better job of unlocking him and make him just a very highly accurate passer. His deep ball is really nice. And then he has that game-breaking speed. I don't know, Lamar Jackson didn't make my top 10. I doubt he made your top 10, Jeff. Tim probably has him at number 1 or something like that. But I just see Kyler as the better version of Lamar long-term. He's the guy that I would want to be behind with that type of skill set rather than Lamar Jackson. You know
what? I got to say, Lamar is a sprinkle ahead here.
What case do you make for Lamar over Kyler?
Maybe I'm just...
You've seen Lamar's peak?
Yeah, I don't know. He won an MVP. I'm respecting that he won an MVP.
Great.
I'm respecting that, and I believe these guys' ability to make steps and continue to improve on the things that they might not do as well as you want them to.
But if that's the case, isn't Kyler's ceiling incredibly higher then?
No.
Just we already
By
know he's a
definition, no.
significantly
By
better
definition,
passer.
no, it isn't. By definition, he cannot be
I mean,
higher
I'm
than
just
the
gi-
best player in the
but
NFL.
yeah,
That's
but
what
you-
Jackson
yeah,
was
yeah,
for a season.
I'm a victim of the MVP.
Hold on a second.
I'm a victim of the MVP.
Hold on a second.
Award.
So are you saying, do you have Aaron Rodgers ranked number 1 then?
No, I don't.
He's
'cause
better than
old, and I
He's
think
better than Patrick Mahomes though. He's the MVP.
No, they've both won
No.
MVPs.
No, but who won this year?
Mahomes was hurt the year that.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson won.
Yeah, and Mahomes was better than him that year. So Lamar had a peak year.
Dubious.
Mahomes was better than him that year. Mahomes has been the best quarterback in the league for the past 3 years. It really hasn't even been close.
And
So
that's why he's number 1 on all of our lists.
yes, exactly. But I mean, Lamar had an outlier season. That's great. But I don't think that there's anywhere going. Even if he rushes for that many yards once again, like he's good. But I think the league has continued to has figured him out to a point where if he can't improve as a passer, as a guy who can drop back 45 times in a game and sling it, which he just isn't, then give me Kyler Murray who can do that.
Well, you're welcome to that position. That is not mine, and it sounds like it's not Jeff's either.
Pat makes a very good argument, and there's a good chance the future proves me wrong. But in this moment, I'm a dummy. No, I don't want to say dummy. I'm beholden to the fact that they're hyper close. I've got to just blindly giving an edge to a guy that has won an MVP so young in his career, his second year.
Well, how about this? Lamar Jackson, MVP. Russell Wilson never received an MVP vote.
Again, you're turning my list into Swiss cheese. I'm not disagreeing with that. I am just a sucker. Like a guy won an MVP in his second year.
It's incredible.
They made the playoffs last year. He's making my list. You're probably right. Like on deeper thought, Kyler and just such a better arm probably does have a much better chance to have a bigger 4 years. But he gets a leg up because he's already won like the most prestigious individual award in the sport.
And I'm not saying I have Lamar 32 of 32. Like, I think he's probably just slightly outside of the top 10. I think he's fine. But I would just rather take a similar skill set in someone like Kyler Murray a lot more.
Maybe if Murray ever has a season better than Jackson, we can start talking about that. But he's just
So are you just every year that Lamar gets worse and worse and worse? Are you just going to do that thing where you point?
You
to
know what Lamar's passer rating was last year?
He was so good
You know
in
what his passer rating was?
2018. What was it?
You know what his passer rating was last year? Take a stab. What do you think his passer rating was?
I don't even know what passer.
Is Lamar
rating-
in your
does
top
any-
five?
Does anyone even use passer
Oh
rating?
yeah.
He's in your top five?
When was the last time anyone used
Yeah.
passer rating?
Like, I'm not going to commit myself to it, but like the Ravens are probably going to be my Super Bowl pick this season.
There it is, folks.
And Lamar is probably going to be my MVP pick this season. I'm not
Oh,
committing to that
boy.
yet, but that's where I'm leaning. I love this guy. I mean, he had a 99 passer rating last season, 99.3.
I honestly,
passer
I
rating.
cover football
And he's
for a
run for
living.
1,000
I
yards
don't know
in
what
2
passer
consecutive
rating
seasons.
actually measures.
What's his passer
And he's
rating
had-
on air yard passes of over 15 yards? Because
I don't have that in front of me. And he's run for over 1,000 yards in 2 consecutive seasons. He's just too valuable at his position to denigrate. I mean, he just does too much. He's like a shortstop in fantasy baseball that hits 50 home runs. He's just too valuable. That's how I know.
No, that's not. So
I mean, I like Lamar.
So okay, so where do you have Lamar on your list, Jeff?
I have him at 8.
Okay, I have him unranked. Tim, where do you have him?
I'm at number 2.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
23. He's 23. He has won an MVP. His ceiling is as good as higher. I think is as high as anybody's not named Patrick Mahomes. I love the guy. I absolutely adore him.
I think that's absolutely insane.
And
You don't
he's on a
believe
rookie
this.
contract. And he's on a rookie
For
contract.
one
where he's
more
run for-
year.
For one more year. But you know what? If he gets me the Super Bowl next year, that's enough for him to be a top 3 or 4 QB. Right? Like, I'm sorry. The guy got that monkey off his back by winning a playoff game. The sky's the limit for him. I'm very, very, very positive about. I mean, I think if you look at the numbers, look at what he can do, I just don't see an argument against him other than He doesn't play the game in the way that traditionally quarterbacks play the game.
That isn't
I'm
the
not
case against him. The case against him is that if he gets down by 14 points, you're cooked.
That's true of almost every quarterback in football. Not named Patrick.
No, I actually don't think that. Because there's one thing, like if things break the Ravens' way and Lamar is playing well from the outset, they can jump up to elite. He's very dangerous because of his style of play, his ability to both use his legs and then take those shots on play action and continue to pile up points. He's a great front-running quarterback, but you get him down in games and force him to do one thing, he is not great at the one element that you need to come back in games. He has to improve on that. And that's why I like Kyler more than I like Lamar, because if you put Kyler down by 10 with 10 minutes to go and he can only just chuck down the field, give me Kyler.
I mean, to your point, Pat, to sort of now get to the next level in the AFC, to get to the Super Bowl, you've probably got to run off a month of playoff wins, or at least 3 of them against Allen, Mahomes, Watson, and a super kid. That could be a Herbert, a Burrow, Lawrence. They're super like guys that are cutting air and slinging it, and you can't win 3 straight AFC football games to get to the Super Bowl not scoring like X, right?
I think so, and like I can envision a situation where Tim could be right. The Ravens are going to be a good team.
I'm not trying to besmirch the Ravens, but the ranking of Lamar Jackson at 2, I don't even think Raven fans would eat.
Where the Raven fans would have had him there last year. Most people would have had him 2 or 3 last year. They were doing these ranks. I just am not swayed from what I saw. Thought it was a pretty darn good season, and got a playoff win and won that game in part because he made one of the finest plays we've ever seen in the playoffs, that running touchdown. I'm sold on the guy. I think he's the future of the sport, and I like him a lot.
So the guy who can't pass is got the same.
Can't pass. See, that's the argument that I don't like.
Okay,
it can't pass. It's that compared to these other guys, when it comes to arm strength and passing, especially in that intermediate range, like basically between 15 and 30 yards. And you said these guys fucking cut air. It's just like zip, and it's there. Lamar, it's more of a struggle, and that worries me.
Okay, can't pass. Clearly an unfair. I just mean, talking like through it verbally, I would probably swap Kyler and Lamar. But I really do like Lamar. But he's got limitations he's got to fix. But he's made improvements. His improvements, like, how do you put this? Just because a couple wizards came out and seemingly did everything right away and won a Super Bowl, like Mahomes, like Wilson, there's still like these guys gotta like grow and mature and feel it and become, better, see the game better. And they do, and they grow into it and become more comfortable. And I don't see any doubt. I have very little doubt Lamar, who works so hard in the offseason, will continue to make improvements.
And he's 24. That is
Tim,
not
your argument can't be that guys are young all the time. Sam Darnold's still good. He's young. No, he's not.
Not good.
He's not good.
Young, and therefore, there's real potential for him to learn and continue to develop. I think the sky's the limit with this kid, and we've seen at his best, he was the best player in the NFL for a season.
But he wasn't. Patrick Mahomes was the best player that year.
He was the unanimous MVP. There wasn't a single person
who do you think was better?
Watching football
Geoff?
For a living who voted for Mahomes.
In the last 2 years,
that's not the award though.
Even though Mahomes hasn't won an MVP,
he won one.
No, he did. He won.
But the MVP isn't the best player. Award.
In the last 2 years, he hasn't won the MVP.
Correct. He's been
the best player on the planet. I don't doubt that. But I get and
that's why he's number 1 on our ranking list.
That's why the MVP is fucking meaningless.
It's not mean
to you. It is.
It's nice to celebrate a season like when you see, because a lot of
a lot of forever. LeBron
they still do it.
Like LeBron, they'd find a way to okay, that guy had a really nice year.
We know
LeBron's the best player on planet Earth, but he's the MVP. Even Jordan handed a few over. I remember David Robinson getting one and Barkley.
Yeah, no, and that's but that's only enhancing my point. That if we're talking about, because he keeps saying, oh, he had the best season, he won MVP. It's like, no, he didn't have the best season. He won MVP. Yeah, because a lot of
6 touchdowns,
a lot of what goes on in terms of being the best doesn't necessarily go into what.
But Aaron Rodgers deserved his MVP this year.
Sure, Pat, I'd still rather have. I would.
I agree.
For every game that got started
Correct.
last year,
Agreed.
I would have rather had Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, the best player on planet Earth. But from September through December, Aaron Rodgers was the best player in the league. Is that weird? Because I don't disagree with
actually
what I
don't
just
think
said.
that he was. I think that Patrick Mahomes was.
Yeah. Now Mahomes wasn't in 2019 because he missed so many games because of injury. That just takes you off the board, right? That's
Which
why
again,
he wasn't really a live option for that.
Which again, that makes
Isn't his fault.
but that also makes the MVP award as a judge of talent kind of meaningless.
Tim is also
Well,
listen.
no.
I acknowledge that the MVP played a role in my ranking and his inclusion. I'm not crazy to make him number 2, but Tim does this in pretty much every sport, every walk. Like he won the MVP, therefore he's forever an MVP. It's like the same way he'll talk about golfers with one major champion.
Jason Duffner's definitely going to win.
Like,
He won a major 12 years ago.
He's on par to. I'm trying to think who's
I
like.
don't think that's quite a fair restatement of my position. But do I weigh it? Something like an MVP? Yes, I do. I think it means something.
Like who's 35-1 to win like the golf tournament this week? Like I'm just be like, oh, like Zach Johnson has a better chance to win than like Jason Kokrak because Zach Johnson
has won two
majors.
I don't think that's true unless we were at Augusta or St. Andrews. Then I would say that.
Anyway, I don't remember what my point was at this point.
MVPs
doesn't equal best player. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
if that was the case, Mike Trout would win every single year in baseball.
There's no
every single year.
I'm not trying to make the statement that it always does, but in 2019 it did.
No, it didn't.
Because
Patrick Mahomes was. It doesn't matter if he missed 4 games. He was still the best player.
That's a quarter of the season. I'm sorry. You have to be taken off the chessboard if you miss a quarter of the season. I'm sorry. You cannot be the most valuable player in the league if you miss.
We're not talking about most valuable player. We're talking about the best fucking player.
You can't be the best if you missed a quarter of the game.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
It's not an option available to us if you miss a quarter of the game. You just missed too many at that point, which is why not a single person voted for him. Because it wasn't available.
Because it's not. Because the MVP is not the best. The MVP is not the fucking best player award. It's just not.
It was the best player that.
No, it isn't.
And Mahomes
it is the most valuable player to their team, which also weighs outside factors and like
expectations.
Which was the whole argument, which Tim was on my side, which I was wrong about when you bet Herbert, and I said that Herbert wouldn't win Offensive Rookie of the Year because Burrow was the number 1 pick. He has all this baggage that goes into awards like that, and then he got hurt.
And it helped Rodgers in this. They didn't draft anyone. They don't help him. Mahomes, look what they do. They'll get a receiver. Bell gets cut. They draft a first-round running back. They do everything they can to like make them succeed. And
part of Lamar's MVP, despite having an amazing season, was no one expected him to be really good, and he was fucking awesome.
Yeah, of course. Well, that definitely plays an insane role. Josh Allen doing what he does again might not get him the MVP votes, despite him having the exact same season. Just whoa, from A to B was like whoa.
Yeah, did he get any MVP votes?
I don't know how it works. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like a placing.
He got more votes than Mahomes.
Yes, Mahomes finished 3rd.
Like that's insane.
But it's just
I love
one
Josh
vote,
Allen, but that's insane.
Right? Tim, it's just one vote. It's not like baseball where I can give like a
you
third
only get
place
one
vote.
You only get exactly.
I don't agree. I don't agree
but
with that.
If we're talking about MVP and value to their team based on a narrative of, the Bills made that leap. They became a really good team. And that was all predicated
100%.
on Josh Allen. Well, yeah, I guess for this season, according to 50 media members, he was more valuable than Patrick Mahomes. Not better than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He wasn't even better than Patrick Mahomes last year.
I love Josh Allen. I'm not disagreeing with anything.
So we've done Kyler, Lamar. So we're through 10 on everyone's list now?
I guess so, but we knock a few off because I've already done my 8 and 9.
So number 9 for me, Tom Brady.
I can see it.
Didn't make my list because I'm an idiot.
I mean, if Tim wants to use the argument of he thinks the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl next year, and that qualifies Lamar at being number 2 on his list, then I think Brady could most definitely win the Super Bowl again next year.
Yeah. I think it's a very defensible position.
Even if this is only a 2-year play, sometimes in fantasy football, we talk about, hey, it's not just the player that you draft being in that one spot. Like you don't draft Christian McCaffrey, he's running back one. He's running back one on your team. So running back one is kind of, an amalgamation of both running back spots that you have to have. And who's your replacement for those? Can you replace that person well? You give me 2 great years of Brady and then 2 years of whoever the hell they signed. I'll take that quarterback, and that's Brady.
Okay, that's an interesting angle. What, on a 1-year list? Like, he's in my top 5.
Okay, what if it was a 2-year list?
Yeah, I think
I can't see past. I can't even see it past next year. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it past 2015.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm gonna give him this
playing
year. I if we did the 1-year list, he would rank so high for next year. But that's about as much as I give.
Tampa
The second,
could very well win the Super Bowl.
the second you go multi-years, he does not make my list.
He was close. He was very close to making the list. I get the case
Because-
he's got all the weapons. He's
Yeah,
still
but again, it's not Tom Brady on Tampa Bay. It's just Tom Brady.
Yeah,
but
I
don't want
agree.
Tom Brady if he doesn't have the weapons, right? Because we saw him in New England in 2019 without weapons, and he played badly. Tom is one of those quarterbacks where if you don't equip him with the right guys, he's kind of not worth having because he is unlike all the other QBs that are probably on the list where he doesn't have any mobility. So you really do need to equip him with the right sorts of players. And Tampa is a perfect example of you give him the guys that can maximize the skill set that he still has at his age. And he's a great option. If you threw him in Detroit, if I was the Lions, he wouldn't be on my list because what am I doing with him?
Well,
He's
but
not going to help me.
that's not the practice of this list. I actually think with Detroit, he would be fine. I think that as we found out this year, that when you looked at the options he had in New England, they were just the worst in the league, maybe?
Yeah, but that's why he played so badly last
Sure,
year.
but then you put Cam into that situation, and he's also the absolute nut-low quarterback.
Well, Cam played well, then he gets sick.
I think that there's a difference between having the best and having the worst, that if you just give him median, I still think he would be really good.
Oh, sure. No, I agree with that. But I do think it's a bit context dependent. That's why I left him off the list.
Brady-
but
I think if you gave anyone basically the Patriots receiving core from the past 2 years, they'd probably be pretty terrible. Minus like Mahomes.
Brady, before last year, was the best football player ever to me. And he went to a level this year that's like in my head that takes him beyond football. Like a fucking John Lennon Jesus type, Michael Jordan.
So he's on the Tiger Jordan.
Yeah, and he probably
Gretzky,
should have been there
Roger Federer.
before last year, but
But the Federer one's really interesting.
Last
because
year-
Nadal and Djokovic are so good too. So does that enhance Federer's case or detract? Because those guys, like, is the tennis argument that those 3 guys are 3 of like the 5 best players of all time, or is it that tennis just got really weak after 3 guys, and that's why they ended up winning? So
I don't even know that tennis got weak, but there was a gap that could never be
like Andy
closed.
Murray is probably like
Murray was in there occasionally.
Yeah, but how many Grand Slams did Murray end up with? Like 3,
1 or
2?
2 maybe.
Yeah,
and a
I'll
gold
look that
medal
up.
didn't he win because it was in England and whatever.
I'll look that up.
Federer won the gold medal with Ranka in doubles. I think he didn't win the. He didn't win.
No, and you should say Brady even before last year should have been on that list, but he was. He was always
3 Grand Slams.
He was always the best quarterback ever to me, but he just stratosphered. It's crazy what that. I don't want to get into it, but it's crazy after how successful he was with that one Super Bowl did to his legacy for a guy like me who already thought he was the best. Even though I didn't, because I didn't believe, because I was like, who wants a quarterback who's going to be 43? Like, who wants that? Like, I don't know how this league works.
Well,
It's
also
not how it
changed
works
things for me because I had such a sour taste in my mouth for all his other Super Bowls that this one wasn't. And I was able to be dispassionate about it for the most part and just say, wow, what I'm seeing, I will never see. This is Bill Russell winning 11 championships in 13 years and being the most accomplished basketball player who will ever live. You're never going to see this again.
It was like a page 6 story that him and Giselle are going to try for another kid this summer. I'm like, so they're going to have sex? I don't know.
That may throw off his biorhythms. I don't know about that. It was just like
I
when
don't
he
know.
got
He did
really
have that
triggered
one
that he
Bud
brought his
Light
own.
and then
Yeah, when he brought his lunch to Augusta.
That's the only thing he could he ever did that really bothers
Well, it's
me.
incredibly defensible because if you go to Augusta to eat, you end up eating like you and Tim. Tom Brady doesn't put that shit into his body.
If they just tell them
That's
what
not
he
true.
wants, they would take
Well,
care of
you
him.
eat like absolute
100%.
trash.
Yeah, because I would eat off the kids' menu.
Yeah.
Tom, you just tell the chef there they would make it the same way that they make Tiger Woods the champion's dinner.
That's different.
They would make him whatever. Tom's coming tomorrow.
Tom doesn't employ an entire team of nutritionists to have someone else make his food for him. I hate to tell you.
Okay, I'm just saying they would make the
No, they would.
fucking food.
There's a specific way that the food gets made.
I don't want to talk about it. You're making me not like him.
Well, this is a part of his process.
No,
As long as he keeps this up, I think his body's going to hold up. And
bringing a bag of lunch to Augusta is the most
you don't get to be Tom Brady and be the best if you don't do things exactly to schedule, exactly the way that he does. If not, he's just some schlub. And this is a part of it.
No, I promise you, whatever equivalent event Usain Bolt would go to.
I was just about to say Usain Bolt, who's a
Like,
much more
he could-
impressive
he would
athlete.
just-
that is exactly the point. Tom Brady is
Would not
not
have done that.
Tom Brady is
Okay,
not an
I'm
impressive athlete. This is what he does to keep himself at this level. Because he has none of these natural skills like those guys.
into proving your point
No.
for you.
Usain
Yeah,
Bolt
you're
can
right.
go to fucking Michael Phelps used to eat 3 servings of
That's true.
McDonald's every day.
Like a box of
Yeah,
Captain
he's
Crunch
just
for
an
breakfast.
amazing
Yeah,
athlete.
no, you're-
Tom Brady is not an amazing athlete.
It's true.
On the
Look,
level of these guys.
It's so funny because I'm like Mac Jones, as you talked about D Brown, he's storming up these mocks.
Tim hates Mac.
Storming.
He's just a guy. That's
No,
why.
but
He's
he
a
is.
guy.
He is. There is such steam. Like Denver at 9. Even the fact that he was so good at the Senior Bowl, and Matt Rule and the Panthers coached him there, and there's a long history of teams.
Christian Ponder all over again.
No, I'm not saying, but it's so weird because I was saying to my buddies, his NFL comp is like Brady, but that's not a good NFL
Yeah.
You can't just be Brady, those intangible wicked things. I want the comps to be ceiling guys. Because Brady's a 1 in a million. If that makes any sense. That's not a
Yeah,
nice.
I agree with you. All right, so Brady's my number 9. Who's your number 9?
It was Stafford.
Okay, Tim, who's your number 9?
Josh Allen.
Way high. I got Josh
I put him
Allen.
on the list.
I got Josh
I did
Allen
a
at
half
number
and
5.
That's fine. To me, it's a prove it year for him coming up.
Where's
He-
from?
That's very funny. That's very funny.
From just out
wanna see-
racist tweeting.
I want to see whether last year was a 1-year aberration or whether he's genuinely figured it out. We've never seen a quarterback in his 3rd year develop quite like Allen did. And so I was obviously wrong about him so much.
No, 30-year development is the most normal thing in
Especially,
history.
like this,
especially a
not
guy who
this
got
show.
better every single year.
No one's ever, I mean, people talk about it. No one has ever seen. a
No
guy like
offense,
this.
Tim. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but we went into last spring, summer doing these shows, and to each of them, the Baker, the Darnold, even before it blew up on Josh, year 3. So we said it all summer. Year 3, big leaps. Let's
no
go.
one has ever seen, for example, a completion percentage jump like this before in their career. A lot of weird things happen. Now, maybe he just figured it out. Great. So this is a prove it year. He plays to that level again. He should be number 4 or 5 on the list, not number 9.
Still
But
behind
I
Lamar.
Yes, because I don't think his ceiling is as high as
Remember
Lamar's
we
ceiling.
did this?
But-
Yeah, we
And
did.
who would you rather have, Lamar or Josh Allen? What was the poll results?
It was the
85%?
playoff. Was it for the
It
playoff
was
game?
85% Allen because
Sure,
people aren't
okay,
insane.
But you know what? In other words, I'm remaining consistent with my position.
Consistently wrong.
Okay, fine.
Where do you have him,
Like,
Jeff? How high?
I got him 4. So do I have him higher than anybody?
Yeah, I have him at 5.
I'm a believer. I liked him out of school. He has the skill set, the ceiling skill set. Even as a rookie, through the bad completion, there were always games, even in losses, and a lot of incompletions. You saw ceiling plays. And I know I used to say that about Darnold, and that didn't work out. But
Because you never actually looked at the other side of the coin.
I'm just saying, when I see ceiling plays, I can fall in love. And I'm not surprised. I mean, was it better than I expected last year? Yeah. But was Josh Allen taking a big leap going into the year, by me and a lot of people? No, 100%. And he keeps Dable. They're going, man. They're going.
His decision making was much improved last year. Can still be poor.
Yes.
From time to time. He's basically Favre. His skill set is Favre's skill set, except he's far more mobile. He's just going to chuck it. Yes, Paul, Bills fan.
I just wanted to educate Tim on perhaps why all of these things seem to be coming together for Josh Allen, who comes from a small town, didn't get recruited by anybody, had to beg to get onto Wyoming. Maybe the guy just never had great coaching at any point in his life, and then now it's all starting to come together. He's got all of the talents, all of the skills. Obviously, everything's coming together now.
And adding Steph Diggs, one of the best receivers in the NFL, doesn't hurt.
I agree. I agree with all of those things. I'm just saying it's unusual for a QB to have that type of jump in completion percentage. And if it goes back to 59%, he'll be fine. Not the quarterback he was last year. Yeah, he'll be okay.
Even if he's still 60%, the Bills are still going to be really good with him at quarterback. It's mind-boggling to me that you have Lamar Jackson at number 2, and your entire case is that he won MVP 2 years ago in one of the biggest outlier seasons of all time from year to year.
And then he played,
but you're holding it against Josh Allen.
No, I'm not holding it against him. I'm just saying he has to have the
second place, 2019 MVP, second place.
Yeah, second place though.
Doesn't count for much. Second place. It's not the win, but you're not giving it nearly the respect it probably.
I need to see a follow-up year from Allen, and if he does great, then he rockets up the rankings. But
listen,
I need to see more.
Allen and Mahomes probably set this on a lightning rod course when it comes to the NFL draft now, when it's sort of followed suit with Allen. There's a lot of things you see on tape, like you saw with Allen at Wyoming, like you even saw with Mahomes at Texas Tech. There were a lot of things they can't do or aren't doing well. But you saw what they could do well, and as Paul said, you bring them to us, we can mature it, coach it, but you can't teach the stuff that Josh Allen does, man. It is unteachable, and it is special. And I dare say, he is... Every year now, we're going to the draft where one of these top prospects has a Josh Allen comp skill set, one of these top picks, because he's it's a skill set that is so coveted among the top brass in the league.
Well, I will give you my number 8, and I'm very curious to see where Tim has this guy on his list, because I think that he is following basically a similar type skill set of Josh Allen in the way that he performs, what his biggest attributes are. And for some reason, I think that Tim is going to have him ranked higher, but it's Justin Herbert, number 8 for me.
I have Herbert at 5.
You have Herbert at 5 and Josh Allen. Jeff, come on.
Allen's ahead of Herbert on my list. And so I don't know what to tell you. I don't really want to get into it, but I've sort of got a 6-7 tie.
No, you make a pick.
Okay, I've got Herbert then at 7.
Okay.
Herbert is 7 on my list. 7th on my list. You probably thought he would come in higher.
I did. Apparently, Tim is the highest on Justin Herbert.
Well,
because he's significantly better than Josh Allen.
No, because the guys I have at 6 and 7, there are injury problems, which are enough for me to put the question mark.
Can't be MVP. Too injured.
But
can't be good.
No, but I think two guys that I have below Herbert are coming off significant injury. So I'm okay, that's enough for me to say I will put a peg in there. Because I said, for me, between 3 and 9, you could jumble them up and I wouldn't have been upset at all if they came out in a different direction.
I thought that the top 6 was pretty clear for me, but that's me, obviously, and we don't have the same guys in there. Herbert, no. I hope he doesn't regress year 2. I would like to see him incrementally improve, although it's hard to improve how good he was last year.
Hard to improve, but there are places that he can improve.
Overriding the coach, if the coach tells him something stupid, no, we're not doing that.
Oh, well, there's a coach, and Herbert gets to now play games with a strategic advantage.
Well, at least, no, we don't know if it's a strategic advantage. It's not a strategic disadvantage.
Okay, fine. But I'm telling you, I would wager, give me a 3-year window to a man. I am telling you, league circles are going to fall in love with the guy wearing my lead headset.
You hoped you say that about
every I didn't.
You loved Anthony.
No,
Lynn
I didn't.
So much.
No, there were questions. It was such an unknown.
Yeah,
to
questions.
Me. So
Will they win 15 games or 16
You're
games?
A liar.
When you wrote Chargers ownership, you didn't ask for this guy.
No, I've already been through that. It wasn't but I've got this thing is.
But But you
And
do
all
what I
you
have to
guys,
do, too.
all you guys
He's a
that
good
do
soldier.
your no. But he checks like so many of my boxes, and it makes perfect sense.
Friend of McVay.
You guys are going to you
Which
model.
she's never railed about.
You model boys are going to like be mesmerized.
Now, are you saying the model
Mesmerized.
boys in terms of stats, or do you think that he's McVay's ugly friend, that he's a better head coach because all the good looking
I mean,
ones
like
aren't?
the stats guys, like we are going to pop those models so
The Chargers
hard.
do every year anyway. When people run
It
numbers
is-
and look at the Chargers, they're like, the Chargers are going to be great.
to the wall. I'll go anybody that this guy is going to survive and be such a real deal. And hearing him. Oh, I can't get into it. You'll just see it for yourself. I don't want to get into it. As for Justin Herbert, simply immaculate. The concerns you mentioned, regression, Pat, historically, statistics while under pressure are hard to replicate. I've done deep dives, or I ingest all of the
You
information.
just looked at Phillip Rivers' career. 1 year good, 1 year bad, 1 year good, 1 year bad.
I just mean under pressure. Like
under pressure.
His stats under pressure this year. Philip Rivers never had these type of stats.
No, but I'm just saying they can be they're not sticky. It's almost like turnover rate.
Yeah.
Is that 1 year you can be really good under pressure, and the next year that doesn't
Now,
guarantee that you're going to be really good.
The thing, like, I feel such a blessing. I feel so lucky that he was blessed upon me, Pat.
How did
how
it
do I
happen,
put
Jeff?
this?
How did it happen? How was
That's
he blessed upon?
just because that's an uncomfortable conversation for other people. That's not fair to have today. I'm at a loss for words. It was magical.
Just say what
And-
you want to say. We
No.
just thank you, Miami, for being bad talent evaluators.
No,
I'll say it
from
for you
deep.
if you won't.
Listen, there are people that have deep dived this that believe ownership made that pick in Miami. But that I don't want to have that conversation.
And Tim's not giving people on this list. Oh, people coming off injury. Where do I
Hold
put
on.
them? We have to give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, Tua's coming off
Yeah,
injury
no.
too.
So I just want to say with Herbert, the most incredible stats that I don't think people are talking about was how much he got sacked and how few he turned the ball over. We have seen amazing rookie quarterbacks in this league, and they've put up amazing statistics on the good end, but they have thrown a lot of interceptions with those great rookie statistics. Justin Herbert did not get sacked very much. He did not throw many interceptions while having those insane pressure stats. So it does make me super excited. He's my wonder boy at the moment. I gotta tell you. I lie in bed sometimes. I caught myself smiling. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. But honestly, anytime you
Calling
get
all
like I can
photoshoppers.
watch that touchdown highlight pack from last year. It's just the pocket awareness, the effortless mobility, the arm strength.
I will say for me, when looking at him, the thing that is the most impressive and why he's number 8 on my list, and because you don't know how year 2 is going to go. I once thought that Michael Clayton was going to be the best receiver in football after his rookie year. He wasn't.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. But it's not necessarily the arm strength, because there's a lot of good quarterbacks who have a ton of arm. Jamarcus Russell had a ton of arm strength, but his command and these lasers that he throws, but the touch that he can put on them into these tight spots. Like Josh Allen shows exactly the same thing. And Herbert showed it a bit more consistently. I will
Way
say.
higher completion percentage.
This early on, but like when you see some of the throws that Allen made last year, like holy shit. It's a lot like, it's kind of the weird version of this is Roethlisberger. When Roethlisberger was in like year 4 and 5, he would make these throws that are just like, they cut air, like you always like to say, but they have this amount of touch that they're in the only spot where their guy can get it. That's what I saw from Herbert. Plus the mobility. The mobility is a very underrated part of him and why he's not
He scored
taking
5
sacks.
touchdowns last season. He ran for 5 touchdowns, which is very uncommon at the quarterback position.
Who?
Herbert.
Yeah, but we're seeing but I mean, you can throw out, when you say it's uncommon, that's a good number to have, is 5. But the more and more we go into time, the higher and higher quarterback rushing touchdown numbers are going to be.
And
It
I
will
just
be, but
want
it's on
to.
par what he was. The reason he's different than Allen is because Allen did something in Buffalo last year he wasn't doing in college and didn't do the first 2 years in Buffalo. Herbert is doing in Los Angeles what he did in Eugene. he did run for that kind of touchdowns. He did have similar passing percentages. Herbert has basically translated his Pac-12 statistics into the NFL for 1 year. And that to me gives me more reason to think that it will be sustainable.
But there was just such a stank on him last year in the draft process, like he was some beta boy or something.
I guess there's one of two ways you can look at that, because the way that he was treated in the draft was very similar to how Josh Allen was treated at the draft. Like, this guy's not going to be good. He's a clear bust.
But he was the Senior Bowl MVP. He had an amazing combine. Like he was doing, and people just made too much of what they didn't see instead of really. In an Allen and Mahomes way, and I'm not saying he's either of them, God willing.
I mean, Allen isn't Mahomes, so.
No, there's gaps between there. But in that way, it was like, no, like there's a seat, like the things that he does really well, you've got to be able to fix what he doesn't do well, but you can't teach the things that he does. And it's great. And now we're Pepsi brand ambassadors, and we're looking forward to the future.
I hear he's dating Doug the Pug. But no, it's funny that you say that there's the Pac-12 coming from Oregon. Oh, he's a pretty smart guy as well. That he might get labeled with that's I guess the difference between him and Josh Allen is that Josh Allen, I mean, he has earned this reputation. Real tough guy.
Oh, there's a truculence to steal from Brian Burke, like about Josh Allen
that Herbert
does
I don't
not
know
have.
But it feels like the reverse is being said about Herbert, where I don't think that we know. That's an unknown element.
Listen,
but like you could bash. It feels like you could bash Josh Allen in the head with a hammer. He'd be like, "Yeah," get up and just keep going, like Favre.
I was talking to Paul about this right around the draft last year. A lot of like the pro comps to Herbert were Allen, and people spoke about that as a negative. 1 year ago, like last April, being comped to Josh Allen was seen as a negative.
Which I think is a really funny comparison, because it feels like draftniks, the film people, and who generally have a much better idea about these guys because they actually do real scouting. But they don't like Josh Allen. They don't necessarily like Justin Herbert, and they think that's a bad comp. But like we've been very pro Josh Allen basically since his rookie season, because you see these things are like, he has these unteachable qualities that if they can be harnessed, he's going to be really good. And it just turns out that maybe not D2 coaching can help that out. And a proper scheme. And the proper... Remember how much we talked about the difference between year one and year two with Josh Allen, was just getting him receivers who actually fit what he does? Much like they did with Cam Newton in Carolina.
Absolutely.
Like find him guys who are just quick
Same
off
coach.
the draw.
Well, McDermott being from there. Yeah, no, I am... I don't know. I'm super excited. We got a chance. And the QB luck, I feel blessed, Pat, to have gone from Rivers to Herbert and hopefully not have this like malaise, be it a 4-year, 5-year, decade thing.
You still have Lawrence higher on your list.
And you had Drew Brees before that, who's probably better than either of those two guys' careers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, career-wise.
But it's funny, like when you think about them, though, like Phillip Rivers was a much better fit for what they did in San Diego than Brees was. I mean,
agreed.
Sean Payton is going to the Hall of Fame because he figured out how to use Drew Brees properly.
Sean Payton is going to the Hall of Fame because he offered Drew Brees a contract. People, listen, I get it. Drew Brees, a Hall of Famer, first ballot, all-time great quarterback. People want to throw mud on the Chargers. I think it's really undeserved because they had a 4th overall pick in Herbert, who a lot in Rivers, who people liked, and Drew Brees' contract had expired and he just blew out his shoulder. So the Chargers had a perfect replacement ready to go. You want to pick on teams? Pick on the Miami. Like Miami don't like
they pick Culpepper.
Yeah, there are teams that
choice.
actually like. I'm just saying history, and I get it. There's an easy narrative, but the true facts of Brees. No one wanted him. He had to go to NFL Siberia. And if your memory is short, after Katrina, the Saints looked like freaking Siberia in the NFL echo chamber. That's what they were. And God bless them. They're a powerhouse now, what he and Peyton built there. That owner, that late Tom Benson, was a devil in the National Football League for even wanting to move them and talk about moving them post-Katrina. And that team succeeded, and that saved him from being like a hated American just because that team got good quick.
I don't know. If you were to list the all-time teams with QB luck in NFL history, the Chargers are in the top 6
Oh,
or 7.
Fouts, Brees,
Fouts,
Rivers.
Humphreys was a fine quarterback. Brees, Rivers, Now
Yeah,
Herbert.
pretty good.
Like you go through the list.
I'm
there's
lucky.
Like
I'm lucky.
50
That's
years
why.
worth of good. You're not the Colts lucky, perhaps.
No.
But you're darn lucky. I mean, I got nothing.
No, and
So,
Pat,
like-
that's why when
Well,
you
but
compare
told
us,
me, but you told me for the past 4 years that Darnold was amazing,
but Pat, that's why when you
and
like
Mark Sanchez before that.
in terms of bad
Gino,
luck,
remember how good Gino was, according to you?
in terms of bad luck, the Chargers have this stank. Like we're very much like before Buffalo got good. It's like Buffalo, Detroit, Cleveland, the Chargers. We were just those teams with nicer weather. But I always argued like, no, because we at least like I got to enjoy Sundays. I had a QB1 on Sundays that made it far more entertaining and like than those teams
in our
had.
in our main lifetime, yes, but I mean the Bills went to 4 straight Super
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about. I'm not. Yeah, that's
And
sort of
before
like.
that, they had Jack Kemp.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm talking about like sort of.
Did Jack Kemp run for VP with Bob Dole?
He sure did. He was the Secretary of HUD under President Bush, I believe.
Those were the
according
first
to Tom.
the Bills Super Bowls are the first Super Bowls I remember watching. I don't remember watching the Norwood one. I wasn't old enough for something like that. But I remember
the Dallas
watching
ones.
I remember Dallas, I remember Whitney and Michael. Like those are my first almost Super Bowl memories.
No, not me. My first Super Bowl memory is Jerry Rice getting that long touchdown in Super Bowl 29. Sorry about that, but that's my first memory.
That's not. That's a
the
beautiful
Super
memory.
Bowl.
It was versus the Chargers. Yeah.
94?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Right.
Rice on the fourth play of the game, streaking for a touchdown.
So Herbert's my 8. Tim, who's your 8?
Kyler Murray was.
Okay. Jeff, who is your 8?
I had Lamar Jackson at 8.
Okay, we've done Jackson. So Jeff, you're number 7.
My number 7 coming in behind Justin Herbert is Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow,
Okay.
for me, unranked.
For me, he was 6,
Unranked.
but I almost made him 7.
Yeah.
Was he like just missed?
Yeah,
or?
just missed. He would be 11 or 12.
Yeah, I don't know. There's 4.
I had Lamar ahead of him.
Okay.
But like I don't know is the thing with him. Like he's an unknown to me in the sense, and we're thinking about next 4 years. Maybe if it was next 8 years, he would be much higher on my list. But if you're going to tell me, I don't know, I'm going to throw out a random name here. I could have Joe Burrow for the next 4 years or Aaron Rodgers for the next 4 years. I'm still taking Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, of course, but Aaron Rodgers is higher. I only want to say and as we find out who my as we find out
I think that you have a notable omission from your list that I have inside my top 6. No,
Stop looking at Jeff's list, Pat.
Well, no, just based on who else he has on his list, if he's included Burrow into it.
Stafford 9.
I think Burrow's
Burrow's
fine.
on my list, but I bet you I have whoever you think he omitted.
Probably. Yeah. So where do you have Burrow? Did you say 5, 6?
I am at 6, but I'm actually going to switch that to 7 because who I have at 7, I should have at 6. So I'm going to switch that.
Do you have
I'm
too
at
many
7.
guys or not enough guys?
Yeah, I might have one too many.
So
I
go
don't
into.
think I missed anybody because I had 2 guys kind of like on one.
I think there's a very compelling case for Burrow to be high, and I like in my circumstance, I think to have him like 11, 12, 13, somewhere there. He's coming off, knee surgery that he should most definitely recover from. Don't underestimate the fact that he was looking pretty good, and then Tim traded for him in fantasy and he blew out his knee. Tim still has him on his keeper team.
And I intend him to be a cornerstone of my franchise.
So there you go. So he's going to be
years to
terrible.
come. I think the kid is everything I could want in a quarterback. Like I would be delighted if I was starting a franchise and got to play Joe Burrow. I think he does everything he does well. He can even run, which people seem to forget about him. They think he's like more of a pocket passer style. He's the guy who got comped to Tom Brady a lot last year. Not that people were doing a lot of comps because it didn't matter because everyone knew he'd be taken first overall. But that people said he was more of that sort of classic statuesque quarterback, but he really isn't. He's got some moves, and he played pretty darn well with a cupboard that was far emptier in Cincinnati than I expected it to be last season. So if it weren't for the injury, I would have had him over Herbert. I might have even had him in the top 4, but he didn't, and so I'm going to put him at 7 because the guy I have anyway. We'll get to my next one, but the guy I had at 6, I got to have ahead of him. So.
There's too much unknown for me with him. Like he's not like would I want Burrow or Baker? I'd probably take Burrow.
But you win a Super Bowl by winning with one of these kids in their first 4 years.
Sure.
So that's why I wasn't afraid to include them, because history
Agreed.
shows
Contracts
us.
matter to me too.
History,
Contracts are something I thought about.
history shows us.
Contracts are a thing. Then I would probably take Lawrence over him at that point. Then I at least get an extra year at it.
History
And a guy
shows
who's not
us that Wilson, Mahomes.
Those are the
I
two.
want to say did Rodgers probably did it on a rookie deal or no?
He did it on a rookie deal.
No, Rodgers won in 2010.
10.
He was drafted in 2004.
Oh yeah, no
Or
chance.
five?
Yeah,
I
sorry,
think those
sorry.
are the only two guys. I think that you can construct a really good team around a rookie deal, and that has a lot to do with it as well. Is that if they are on these rookie contracts, then you can afford to overpay 2 offensive linemen and a D lineman and go out and get a start corner on a short contract. It allows you to do all of those things. But Wilson and Mahomes are kind of the outlier in that. Like if we start thinking, I mean, Brady won fucking half them in the past
I
10
bet you
years.
Eli Manning was on his rookie contract when he won in 2007.
No, he
He was
wasn't.
drafted in 04. They won in the 2007 season, so
They
he
would-
probably was on his rookie contract.
He may have been. I don't know how because he was a part of the old structure, so I don't know
Yeah,
how.
he was first overall.
If
The rookie contracts
Contracts
were,
weren't the same.
were bigger
yeah,
then. They
he got paid
yeah.
like the
Yeah.
best player in the league.
Yeah, you got like 28 million to show up to camp on your first day.
Bradford
Yeah,
was
that's
the last one
Yeah.
to get the huge deal like that. So he was on. He would have been potentially in the last year of his rookie contract, but he was
Yeah.
probably making like $30 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, he said Goff was obviously close. And you had Roethlisberger and Mahomes.
Roethlisberger would probably be the last one who won a Super Bowl, like
Yeah, on the
before those
rookie
guys,
deal.
like being first few years in the league. Like he was what, second year, or did he win as a rookie?
Rookie, I do believe. No, that's a lie. Now that I think about it, I think that it
Second
was his
year.
second season. Yeah, I'm pretty
What,
sure.
I don't know. Didn't like Randall L throw the best pass in that game?
I mean, Ben has what, 3 of them, 2 of them?
And that was
Two
the one
Super
the ref screwed Seattle in that game.
Is this all
Remember
part of
Morency
your,
told me.
is this-
Morency told me stories of going to Radio Row in Detroit that weekend.
Is this a part of your new mounting case to throw shade at Ben Roethlisberger at every turn to make Phillip Rivers Hall of Fame case to be?
Oh, I'm not throwing any shade at Ben. I didn't mean for that at
Well,
all.
there's lots of shade to throw at. Ben.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking to go down that road. I've never done that. I'm curious though, what sort of, if like the Jets draft a quarterback, what relationship Tim wants to have with Trevor Lawrence trolling.
Oh, top notch. It's all about Justin Fields.
I
These
mean,
days,
Lawrence will be
unless he doesn't
fine,
go to the Jets.
Like when Fields has a great
Lawrence will be
game
fine,
and
I
Lawrence, like
guess.
he's gonna be so quick to declaring his pick is gonna be better than Lawrence, and that's gonna
I
be
know
fun.
Lawrence will be fine. I guess. We'll see.
Well, he has Zach Wilson ranked the lowest out of all of his quarterback.
Oh, he's done
projections right
he's ranked them?
Yeah.
I thought Mac Jones was
now. Oh
his
no,
hated.
no, we say well, yeah,
Well, Jones is not even thinkable.
it's not even
Like
on the
he's
board.
like at 2. No, I'd have a nuclear meltdown if that happened.
I think I saved it.
Oh, I remember what it was. Obviously, it was Deshaun Watson first overall to have for a quarterback.
Yeah,
Next, it would be Fields, then Lawrence, then Darnold, stick with him, then Wilson. But I will say, unlike previous rankings, if we end up with Zach Wilson, I'm not going to be angry or upset or annoyed by that. Just because I had him at 5 doesn't mean I don't think. I think these are all really good options.
You had
And
Darnold at 5 and you turned quick, so we know how you can come around on number 5 for you, okay, bud?
Okay, fine.
I can't wait till Mac Jones goes number 2. Oh, he's so good.
Mac Jones is just a guy.
Always wanted him. He's so sick.
No, he's just I don't know. He was so good that his wide receiver won the Heisman, which hadn't happened in 30 years.
So I
That's how
screwed
good of a
up and,
quarterback he is.
and had a tie, so I'm just taking Lawrence. It's unfair, I guess, off my list. But his draft ranking, and when I hear people say that, you know, he's in that draft grade of Luck, Elway, and Manning.
But it still takes...
I'd want to own this guy for the next 4 years.
See, it's not so much because the 4 years thing I think is kind of key here is that you're thinking like year 3, year 4 is when they kind of hit their peak and start becoming the guy that they're going to become.
Yeah.
The years 1 and 2 generally are not necessarily write-offs, but they're not in contention to win Super Bowls unless they're fucking Patrick Mahomes.
Or Wilson.
You're right, but hey, look at those guys that he
Comps to?
comps to in
Sure.
terms of the guys
But,
that
I
have
mean,
been doing the.
Burrow was a slam dunk number 1.
But he
last
wasn't
year.
getting those all-time draft grades.
No.
He wasn't getting draft grades of Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck since I've started watching football.
Yeah, okay, that's enough on Trevor Lawrence. That's fine.
But
We'll
but
see
even
how
think
he-
about
They haven't been wrong
how
about
long-
that grade
But
yet.
how long did it take for Peyton to like get good where his team was like Super Bowl.
He was amazing
Year
right
two,
away,
they
but
were
he
in the
was throwing
playoffs.
tons of picks.
Year-
And that's why I
year
sort
two,
of
they were
make
in the playoffs.
those. Yeah, that's when they played the game versus Jay Fiedler and Lamar Smith had the big run. Vanderjagt missed a kick. I remember that game. I knew a lot of Dolphin fans. It was annoying. That's sort of like when I made my comment about like Peyton Manning's all-world touchdown pass rookie season was also like a record-setting interception season. Like that's what those Herbert
Let's just build a statue to Trevor Lawrence now then and offer.
I'm not
birth
here to
offering.
build a statue, but they have
like it.
they have not been wrong about this level draft grade at quarterback in my lifetime. They have not been wrong. They haven't.
Sure. Okay. Sure. What could possibly go wrong? It's going to be great.
I didn't say it's 100%, but it's
Sounds
rarefied
like
air.
basically.
and he,
Okay,
and he
great.
has the Andercust working
You're
like
already like, oh man.
I never really wanted
Do you
him
know
to
the
begin
place
with, was the
I
thing.
was like in the early Herbert versus Burrow? I'm lucky how great the year turned out, but you're gonna start the year like already tearing holes in Trevor Lawrence, buddy. I can't. This is good. We're in for such a fun journey coming up, Pat. If he's looking to tear down Trevor Lawrence before go.
I'm not looking for it. I think the opportunities will be availed to me, but I think he'd be fine.
okay.
He'd be okay.
So
I guess.
So I had Kyler Murray at number 7 on my list. So your number 7 combo is Lawrence and Burrow, Jeff.
No, I had a Herbert Lawrence tie.
Oh, okay.
And I'm so flattered, Pat. I am so flattered. I've never called a sports radio show in my life. But I was listening to
have for
NFL
years.
radio the other day.
Oh no, hold on. Tim used to call into this show where we grew up. That it was on like Channel 10 Access.
I called in every Monday evening. I'd wait on the phone. It was great.
No, it's just not for me. But I hear these guys on like NFL radio talking draft, and I just want to like call in as like Ben from Peoria and just say, like, I have a couple questions. And this is where I guess my mean spirit might come up on the second part of the question. But I'm seeing highly respected draft people like lifetime draft folk saying like Herbert and Lawrence are like I'm so flattered from where I am a year to date at how much people think Herbert can sniff Lawrence. So that's exciting for me. So I'd be curious to know like who they would like, but I'm also curious to know, I am legitimately curious to know, let's say the Dolphins disbanded for whatever reason and everyone on the team became a free agent, but Tua was put back in next year's draft.
Where would he go?
With what we saw and know, where would Tua line up in this year's class and this year's like whole thing? That's
many
what
rounds
I'm
are there?
so
7?
curious. Shut
Oh,
up.
I guess
I mean, I'm trying to be mean spirited, but that's not fair. And I guess
No,
in
you're
closing, I want to throw this out, Pat.
Well, you're just taking now. You're taking gratuitous.
No,
shots.
I was-
It's not good enough that your
I
guy
was
is
really
good. The other guy
rattled.
has to be bad.
I
right?
was really rattled. I don't want to long win this,
okay.
but you have no
Famous last
idea.
words.
You have no idea how shook I was upon finding out Tiger was on his way to meet Justin Herbert. Like, I was so rattled. I'm like, this is an insensitive thought. So I'm just going to put it out there.
Do I have to beep this?
No.
Write down the time code just in case.
No, it was but it was like, I really hope this doesn't have a negative effect on like Herbert's mental psyche.
Like if somehow Herbert became like Tim.
No, like when we didn't know the status of Tiger's well-being, and I had found out some little birdie had come into my DMs to say, just giving you a heads up, Tiger was on his way to go golf with Justin Herbert. I was like, imagine like if something like way worse happened to Tiger and like Justin Herbert would have to live with that. And then Tiger being a Raiders fan, maybe that would like work out for the Raiders as this incident could like ruin Justin Herbert.
Oh my God.
Because Tiger loves his Raiders. And maybe I don't even want them hanging out. I don't want Tiger saying anything because he loves his Raiders so much. Maybe he'd want to sabotage Herbert.
Sabotage.
I would think that Tiger Woods is not a lunatic like you.
No, he's not.
So that's probably not crossing his mind.
But, and also there was a funny thing. in Dolphins Twitter land showing Herbert golfing, beautiful swing, beautiful, and Tua like
I thought we weren't going to talk about this, Jeff.
No, I wasn't.
I don't want to talk about it or be long-winded. Let me tell you, he still lives rent-free.
No,
He does. He lives in your head.
It's good stuff. You can say whatever you
No,
want.
Jeff and I were
we don't-
chatting
we
about
don't-
this.
we
and
don't-
thought
Tim,
we
I
weren't
said
going
I didn't
public with
want
it.
to.
Oh, you guys were chatting about it, were you? So even during the offseason, the guy who Tim just said wouldn't be drafted in next year's draft, only guy that you're talking about.
No, I sent Tim a tweet that people were trolling me with. I wish I could give it to Paul right now to put up on screen. But it was Herbert golfing and Tua working out. And
He's getting those extra reps in like Des Bryant did when he skipped the draft.
And it was essentially like, oh, look at Herbert. Like he's already being lazy and Tua's like working hard to be great.
Well, that's what it seems like, yeah. What's the case
If
that
Tua
he's not?
didn't have a hip of an 85-year-old, he'd probably be golfing too.
Oh, so you think he has osteoporosis hip?
There's a good chance.
It sounds like Tua's working hard, and
Oh, no.
and Herbert's becoming pretty complacent.
I know, it's gone, Jeff.
What's
I'm
gone?
looking for it too. I was looking for the tweet and I can't find it anymore.
No, something else.
Well, my 10. So have we got through your first 5 yet?
You mean my last 5?
Yeah, you're 10 through 5.
No,
Or
we
through
have not.
six.
I saw somebody at number 6.
Okay, who's your number 6?
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott is also my number 6.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, he's the guy who's not on your list, right?
Yeah.
That seems like an omission.
Yeah. Maybe if I read your list, I'd have seen that and could have put him on mine.
I think that we now enter a sphere where there's 6 quarterbacks that you want, and I think that Dak is one of them. I think that he's...
Yeah, I mean, I buy it, obviously.
I mean, we see very good versions of him. I mean, he has a ton of weapons around him, really good weapons, almost like Tom Brady, but maybe even better. But his size-speed combination, especially with the arm strength, the decision-making, is what you want from an NFL quarterback. And I don't care that he's coming off injury. I think he's going to be fine. I think the difference between him and someone like Burrow is that I've seen Dak do it for an extended...
For me, it's Dak. The reason he's not higher is both injury and his contract, whatever it is going to be enormous. Whether he plays on the franchise tag, and that prevents Dallas from doing some stuff with signings, or he signs a massive deal with Dallas. Either which way, it's enough for me to. This is a situation where the contracts do play in. If I had to pick between him and I did have to pick between him and someone like Deshaun Watson, for example, I just think the contract's more important, plus the injury for Dak.
I can't believe I forgot about Dak.
So Dak sucks, according to Jeff. He was too busy thinking about Tua, forgot about Dak. So Dak's not good, according to you? Is that your stance? Or are you going to amend that stance? You're going to put your top 10 list up to 13 players now?
I'm always bad at this. I'm going to cheat. But I own it. I don't hide from it. Accountability.
Sounds like you need an accountability buddy to make sure that people don't get omitted from your list.
That was
This show
a
has been
grow.
about
I don't think I'd have him at 6 though. He'd probably be closer to the back, but he should be in that top 10.
Like you'd
for
rather
sure.
have Lawrence, you'd rather have Burrow, you'd rather have Herbert than Dak?
Yeah,
Really?
Herbert and Lawrence. Yeah,
See, I would not. I'd rather have Dak Prescott.
it is fine. It is unfair to Dak that his if he was drafted high, he'd have his extension. But because of where he was drafted, he didn't get his extension. Like Goff and Wentz got extensions, no problem.
Additionally,
You want to I draft a guy first, second, third, top 5 overall. Like, no, we're in. And even though those both were clusterfucks now, but there's such a full organizational commitment, and they're still having the same conversations, it seems, as they did when they drafted him in the first round at A&M in the Dallas meeting rooms.
and it's funny because when you have to give the big extension to Zeke, not a problem. For a guy that may or may not be good.
But I
Good,
get
but-
you don't want to. Their whole thing is we don't want to pay good. We don't want to pay great for good, right? That's like the.
That is, and I think that's crazy because I think Dak is great. I think
Agreed.
that you put Dak on. If you put Dak in the open market right now, think about the money he'd fetch. And if you sign him to an extension today, it's actually not that bad of a contract considering where the projection for where the salary cap is expected to go. Because you just can't physically, even if he gets his $40 million a year, in 3 years' time, every quarterback is going to be signed for $40 million. So it's not going to be that big of a deal. Anyway, so we both, so you and I both like Dak. All right, so
I must hate him. I'm an idiot.
let's go over the back end of our top 10. So for me, I guess Geoff starts at 17 from his way down of his top 10. I go Stafford number 10, Tom Brady number 9, Justin Ebale number 8, Kyler Murray number 7, Dak Prescott number 6. Tim, yours.
Stafford 10, Allen 9, Murray 8, Burrow 7, Prescott 6.
And Geoff?
Kyler 10, Stafford 9, Lamar 8, Burrow 7, Herbert 6.
Okay. That is going to wrap up what I'm calling part 1 of this show. And we'll do an additional part 2 if you want to hear 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on everyone's list, although some have been spoiled already. Please tune into that. Also, in the comment section, give me your top 5 or even top 10, whatever it is. Remember to smash that like at the exact same time and rate, review, and subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!